Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pranav Gandhi, and as you are watching on the screen, and this is for just those people who are watching me on the YouTube video for the first time, attending this session for the first time. So for them, this is my brief introduction, which is there on your screen, right? I'm Pranav Gandhi. I'm working as trainer and consultant. I also do conduct online batches for data science with R and Python. And total industry experience, if you see, I have total 22 years of experience. And on your left, below my photograph, you can see these are the various domains in which I have worked, and in the center you can see the academics and various certifications, and of course at the bottom on the page you will get all my communication details. So you will have my LinkedIn profile, email ID, and my contact and WhatsApp number. Now what I am doing with these video sessions is I'm trying to cover up some of the points from my curriculum, for which I have already developed a video. So those who are interested to know about what is the curriculum I am teaching, what are the topics I am covering, for them I have already created one video. I am going to show you the list of the videos which I have already created, right? So this is going to be the episode number 13, and in this particular session we are going to discuss again in continuation of basic statistics for data science. And this is the list which I was talking about. So these many videos we have already created, okay, though they are already there on my channel. If you are new to my channel, please do subscribe it, so that you will be, and of course hit the bell icon so that you will be updated with all the new videos whenever I am uploading them. But till now we have I have uploaded these many videos. You can see the list of all the videos, all 17 videos till now we have uploaded, right from my introduction, then introduction to data science, machine learning, how to download R and Python. So basically why I am covering all this is because there are a lot of guys who are very new to this programming tools and all, okay. There are a lot of non-IT guys as well, okay. So whatever curriculum even I have designed, and whatever lectures I do conduct in my batches, so I try to make sure that all those people who are very new, beginners, even some of them may be experienced, okay, I try to cover them in a mixed way, so that those who are new to the this programming sort of a thing, like R and Python tools, etc., for them also it will be helpful, right? So right from how to download these tools, I have created the videos already, right? How to download R, how to download Python. And then if you watch my second number video, that is data science with Python and R curriculum, okay, in that I have given the complete modules, okay, which are the modules we are going to cover with R and Python, and of course with case studies, etc. So out of those modules, what we are doing is we are starting with the first module, and that is basic statistics. And from that first module, this is going to be the episode number 13, right? So till now, from basic statistics module 1, we have covered what are the different data types available, what is random variable, definitions. Basically these are very basic level understanding. Probability, probability examples, probability distribution, what are the different types of probability distribution, what do you mean by sampling, what is population, what is sampling funnel, okay, what are all four measures of business decisions, right? So something like there are first moment business decision, second moment, third moment, and fourth moment. So whenever we do analysis, or whenever we want to take any business decision. Okay, all these measures will be taken into consideration. Okay, so for that also we have created the videos, and then videos on graphical representations, right? So how to plot the data graphically, and how to interpret it, how to understand it, what the information lies within this particular data, etc. Okay, that video also has been covered. And then the statistical level understanding, like what is normal distribution, what is z distribution, how to calculate z scores, right? What is standard normal distribution, then what is QQ, quantile plot, how to interpret it, right? Then what is sampling variation, what is central limit theorem, which is a very important theorem when it comes to statistical analysis and understanding, and we are going to use some part of that because that is the previous lecture we have covered. So we are going to, in continuation with that session, with an example today, that how to use this sampling variation, central limit theorem, and how to interpret it, right? So before going forward with a case study, let us first understand that what type of business problems when it comes to statistical analysis that one has to face, right? So suppose, let us take one example. Now let us try to discuss about confidence interval versus point estimate. Why this discussion is important over here is to understand how the analysis works. Is, suppose a question has been asked to you that what is the probability of your height is being 178 centimeters, or tomorrow some may ask that what is the probability, if suppose the match is going on, that India will score exactly 300 runs, right? So it's difficult. So what I am asking over here is I am asking a point estimate. What I am asking is I am asking a point estimate. And when it comes to statistics, okay, point estimate is useful, but up to certain extent, right? In statistical terms, point estimate will be used to come up with an interval estimate. Now, why point estimate is not to be, calculated or not to be believed or trusted? Because as I ask you over here, what is the probability of you being exactly 178 centimeters or 178 centimeter in your height? Suppose you are close to that. So as I am saying close to that means one cannot say that I am exactly 178 centimeters, because he can be 178.02, he can be 177.09, he can be 178.0003, right? And there are 1000 decimals possibility is there. That is why the single value estimate, which is called as point estimate, to give point estimate is a wrong habit, or you should not give it when it comes to statistics. You should always come up with some interval estimate. Like if suppose you are around 178 centimeters, then probably if someone says that or you only says that my height is ranging in between 176 centimeter and 180 centimeters, then it makes sense. Okay, the probability of this being true is 100%. Why? Because you know that this value definitely lies between this, right? But when it comes to the business problems, is because this height you can exactly measure immediately, right? But in terms of business problem, what happened, that the exact output you won't be knowing, right? So something like temperature estimate. Okay, so you will always see whenever those meteorological department or those who are working in weather department, whenever they come up with the temperature estimate for tomorrow or today or next hour or maybe 15 days later, okay, they will always come with some minimum value and some maximum value, and they call it as an interval estimate. So they know that the temperature is definitely going to lie within this, okay, but there is some confidence associated with it, okay, that how much percentage is the possibility that the temperature will lie between this. That is called confidence level, right? Because you cannot say that your height is between 1 centimeter and 250 centimeter. Can you say that? Yes, you can say that, because but that is a common sense. For that, no statistical analysis is required. Definitely an adult, maybe around 30 years of old, right? So I'm considering you, means I'm considering here a person who is having an age of 30 years. So definitely he is going to be, his height is going to be fit in this interval, right? But then if I give my analytical answer as an output or as an estimate that the average height of the people staying in some XYZ region, maybe north region of Asia or north region of India, is between this interval. People will laugh at me if I come up with such an estimate, right? So that is why there has to be some confidence involved whenever I come up with the estimate analysis, right? So what are the different types of confidences are there? So the different types of confidences are 95%, 99% and 90%, and these are industry standard confidence intervals. These are industry standard confidence interval. So we will see this while understanding a case study, right? So let us try to understand a case study over here to calculate a interval or to get an interval estimate for population average. Now this is going to be my business case. How? So just assume that suppose this contract has come up to me to calculate this from one of the university. Now this university is having how many alumni? 1 lakh alumni, which means a capital N is given to me, that is population. This university wants to launch a affinity credit card to their alumni, right? So affinity credit card is what? So there are some universities, they want to give some to facilitate, to their students, and of course there is a business involved as well, because when some institute or some universities or some other companies, they offer some cards and all, and they ask you to maintain the balance within the card, the profitability of those companies or organizations or universities or institutions lies between or on the basis of the average balance maintained by those who are holding these cards. So this university is having two interests. One is she wants to give a facility to the alumni with a credit card so that they can use in the campus area or surrounding area, right? But then when they are offering this, they of course not going to do it for free of cost. So they are also interested in the profitability. So now to check the profitability, what they are doing is, because the profitability is, what you can say, is depend on the average balances maintained by the card holders, right? So what they are going to do is, they are going to do a market research. Market means the market is nothing but the campus only, university campus, right? So they are going to do a research, okay, just to understand that how much balance these alumni may maintain if we launch or if we offer this card to all the 1 lakh alumni. Now, while doing this market research campaign, what they have done is, they have given this card to 140 alumni, or we can say it in a different way, that 140 alumni have accepted the card as a pilot launch. Now, what is this 140? This has become my small n, that is sample. So now those who are watching it for the first time may not understanding it, but you have, because this is a continuation series, so you have to watch what is this capital N, small n, what is the average, how it will be calculated, what is standard deviation, etc., etc. And all those videos are already, I have recorded and I have uploaded on my channel. So you can please search and go through those videos first, and then you can get a sense of about this particular case study, right? So here 140 is a sample size, that is a small n. Population is capital N. Now average balance maintained by these alumni, these means these 140 alumni, is 1990 rupees. The average balance maintained by 140 cards or card holders is 1990. So sample average is given to us, which is denoted by X bar, and the standard deviation is 2833 rupees, which is of course denoted by small s. Small s is for standard deviation for sample. Now we are going to assume that the population standard deviation, okay, population standard deviation is for the entire population, standard deviation is 2500 from the previous launches. So this particular card launch is not happening for the first time. Already few other banks cards have been launched by the university, okay, and in that zamana, so to say, or in those launches, the average balance maintained by all the students, of course all the alumni, and that is why it is population standard deviation, was 2500 from previous launches. Now we have to identify, okay, the average balance would be maintained by the current population if we would launch it to all the population students or alumni. So what we are going to do over here is, from the numbers given over here, all these numbers are for samples, which I am doing circles over here, and with the help of the population standard deviation from the previous launches, from these 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, we have to calculate where my population average, that is for this 1 lakh alumni, would be landing, right? So for that I am already having a point estimate. Right? Which means maybe in the last match India have scored with XYZ opponent 300 plus score. So I have a point estimate 300. Now in this current match, how much score India may score? So India may score just below 300 or just above 300. In some interval, it's going to be there because same players are playing. Similar sort of a ground is there, right? Similarly, here also we already have 190, 1990 as a point estimate. Now definitely this is for 140 alumni. If I offer it for all the 1 lakh alumni, then definitely that estimate will lie somewhere around 1990, right? So one value, whatever we have to calculate is the maximum value and the minimum value, and which will be surrounded by this, around this. Now in such, and this particular analysis which we are learning right now is called as the inferential statistics or sample statistics, right? So from the sample information, like TV shows are doing surveys, right? And they are inferring their results on the population, that Maharashtra ki janta ya Ranchi ki janta ya Goa ki janta is saying that this party is going to win. How? From the sample statistics, right? And this is how the sample statistics mean, right? So let us try to find out where the population average will land, right? So for that, let us first understand the theory. So based on the sample data given to us, that is the point estimate for mean balance is 1990. So we have already, let me write down here, mu we have to find out. Capital N is 1 lakh, small n is 140, then small s is how much it was? 2883, I guess, 2833, and sigma, that is population standard deviation, is 2500. So with this information we have to find out the mu, that is population average, right? So to find out this population average, do you think can we trust on this only 140 people's average balance maintained in their cards? We cannot, right? We can't trust, because if I offer the card to another 140 people, the balance maintained by them is going to change. If I try another 140 people or alumni, the balance maintained by, because the people are changing over here, the samples are changing, and here it comes into the picture, that is called sampling variation, which we have learned in the last session, right? We had a population, we got some unique samples, and the averages for every sample have changed, and we have learned. So you can follow this video as well to understand this concept again, right? So here what we are going to do is, obviously the average balance for them will be different from the first lot of 140 alumni, and this is called sampling variation, which we have already seen. So because of such uncertainty, statisticians normally prefer to provide the estimate as an interval, right? So interval has to be calculated, which will be obviously surrounded by the point estimate, right? So that interval estimate calculation will be done with point estimate 1990, that is the average balance maintained by one of the sample of 140 alumini is plus minus margin of error, right? Because whenever I come up with an interval, as I said, I am going to give a maximum value and one will be the minimum value. But are you sure that whenever I come up with this interval also, 100% the average balance maintained by all the 1 lakh alumini is going to fall in that range? No, right? Statisticians always come up with or do the calculations or analysis on the basis of assumptions, and they may be wrong at times. It is not compulsory that you have to come up with 100% exact figure, and that is why we are coming up with an interval, right? So when we are talking about interval, okay, that interval is called as confidence interval, right? And this confidence interval for our population mean for this current problem, it's going to be calculated. If suppose I want to use the industry standards, then there are 3 types of confidence interval. Okay, one is 95%, 99% and 90%, as I have already said. So if I want to calculate the population mean confidence interval with 95% confidence level, which means I am saying I have been allowed to make 5% error, and this error is nothing but alpha, right? So as we have already seen that probability always lies between 0 and 1, and when it comes to percentage, when we say 95%, okay, when it comes to the value, it will come 1. 100 means 1. So 1 minus alpha is 5%, that is 0.05. Right? And we are talking about 0.95. So what is this 0.95 and what is this 0.05? Now let us understand this. As we are assuming, and we have learned that we are going to assume that any data given to us that we have converted into, it has to be normally distributed. If not, we assume that it is normally distributed. If not, we convert it into the standard normal distribution. Standard normal distribution, which is nothing but my z-scores. And from these z-scores, we calculate the area or probability, which we have seen already in last sessions by using the Z table. Now here also we are going to use the Z table, and the area is already given to us. So assuming that my data is normally distributed, I want to calculate the 95% confidence interval where my mean of the population is going to lie or land, and for that I am allowed to make 5% error, which is also, because this is normal distribution, a bell-shaped curve, 50% this side, 50% this side, data distribution. So my error is also going to be distributed both sides. So there is a chance that I may go wrong 2.5% this side and 2.5% this side in my estimate. There is a possibility that I may make a mistake, I make or my population mean may fall in that region, the error, and that will be my error. So I have to consider this error component as well. So when I say 95% confidence level means 5% error, which is equally distributed on both sides of the normal distribution curve, then what happens over here is, if I want to calculate a z-score over here, then I have to add this 95% with this 2.5% to get this z-score. So from the area given to me, I'm going to calculate the z-score value by referring to z-table. But why this z-table is required, or why this z-score is required? Because when I want to calculate a 95% confidence interval, I'm going to calculate that interval estimate by using this formula. The population mean shall be following within this range, which is nothing but my x bar, which is my point estimate, plus minus, as we have said, margin of error. That margin of error has been replaced by z-score, which is 1 minus alpha. So z at this point, which is 0.95 plus 0.25, which is going to be 0.975, right? So I want to check for this 0.975 area in the z table and get the z-score at 0.975, which is nothing but z at 1 minus alpha, right? Because my alpha is 5%, so this becomes 0.95, but because of the possibility of error going 2.5% this side and 2.5% this side, I have to add this 2.5%, as z table gives me the area towards left from the z-score, the probability of that particular number falling. Okay, the z table gives me area towards left, or the probability towards left, and that is why I'm going to check for this area what is the z-score. For 0.975 area, what is the z-score? And then it will be multiplied by sigma over root n. What is this? If you remember, this is our standard error of the mean. Remember this, we have learned in sampling variation. What is this? This is a standard deviation of my means, of my sample means. This is the standard deviation of my sample means, will be calculated by sigma over root n, and this is referred as standard error of mean, and that is why I say this is called central limit theorem, and this is very, very important, right? So the standard error of mean multiplied by z-score is going to give us the margin of error, right? So let us calculate all the values. So what is given to us? So based on our pilot launch data, we have following things with us, right? Small n is 140, that is our sample, alumni. Standard deviation for population is 2500. Average balance maintained by the 140 alumni is 1990, right? So first we have to calculate this value, which is sigma over root n, because this is easily calculatable. We can calculate it easily. So sigma over root n will be 2500 divided by root of 140. So this value comes to 211.29, right? Now with this value and that formula, so that formula was x bar minus z at 1 minus alpha multiplied by sigma over root n, comma, this is going to be my minimum value, and that is why I am subtracting it from point estimate, and the other value will be x bar plus z at 1 minus alpha multiplied by sigma over root n again, and this is going to be my maximum value. So now we have already calculated this value, or this part of equation has been already done, that is this 211.29. Now what we require is, we already have this x bar as well, which is 1990. So now we simply need to find out what is z1 minus alpha, that is z score at 0.975, that is 0.95 plus 0.25. Is it right? Sorry, 0.25. 0.025. So which is 0.975, right? So let's see the z table, and let's check where the, so this is the z table. I have already opened up this one. So you can see here this table we are referring, and the values for z are always lie between -3 and +3 as their first part. So we have to check, and these are the areas, so we have to check for the value 0.975, and you see over here this is 0.975, right? So the corresponding z score for this area is 1.9, okay, 1.901, because this is going to be for the right side of the decimal, right? So here it is 1.9, and then you see here at the top row, okay, so it is going to be 1.90, 1.91, 1.92, 1.93, 1.94, 1.95 and 1.96. So this value is going to be 1.96. So let us use that value. So if we calculate that, let me do one thing. Alright, so here what we are going to do is, we have got that 1.96 as a value for z score. So now I am writing a formula again, x bar minus 1.96 multiplied by, what is sigma? 2500. So sigma over root n we have already calculated, right? So no need to calculate that. So let me write it just. So first of all, let me write down the formula and then replace the values. So x bar minus z at 1 minus alpha into sigma over root n. This is one value. The other value will be x bar plus z 1 minus alpha sigma over root n, right? So this is going to be my interval. So let us replace the values. So 1990 minus 1.96 multiplied by 211.29. So this multiplication happens first and then the value will be subtracted, and here 1990 plus 1.96 multiplied by 211.29. So let us do that. Let me get the calculator. So if we calculate this, that is 1.96 multiplied by 211.29 is going to be 414.13. Okay, so it is going to be 414.13 comma 1990 plus 414.13. This is going to be my interval. So let me calculate this. Now 1990 minus 414.13. So 1576 rounded off number will be 1576 is going to be one value, and the other value will be 1990 plus 414.13. If we take, then it's going to be 2404, right? So these two values we have already calculated. Okay, so this is going to be 1576 and 2404. Now once we have got this 95% confidence interval for the mean balance maintained by the population, this is, we are talking about population. Okay, so we can go to the university and tell them that from the given sample, okay, and whatever the information you have given to us, from that we have calculated, right? And from our calculation with 95% accuracy, you can say, or 95% confidence interval, okay, we say that the mean balance of the population may fall in this range. Now how to interpret this? Okay, so can we say this, the mean balance of the population lies in this range? No, we cannot say this. Can we say this, the mean balance is in this range 95% of the time? No, this is also not correct full statement. Can we say this, 95% of the alumni have balance in this range? No, this is again the wrong statement. So what is the correct interpretation? The correct interpretation for this is, we can go to the university and tell them that mean of the population has 95% chance of being in this range for any random sample, or mean of the population will be in this range for 95% of the random samples, right? And this is how we can interpret the confidence interval to the client, or we can come up with this calculation and give it to the client with the interval estimates, right? And this is all for the topic interval estimate versus, or interval confidence interval versus point estimate. Now for 90% confidence interval, you can calculate it as an assignment. And please do comment with your answers in the YouTube video comments, or maybe I am going to also upload this on my Facebook page so you can also comment over there as well. I'm also going to upload this video on my LinkedIn profile, so you can also comment over there if you want, right? Or you can even WhatsApp me for that matter, right? All that then, guys, this is all about for today's topic that we have learned: confidence interval versus point estimate. How to calculate the confidence interval. We have taken a case study. We have seen the formula to calculate the confidence interval. What are the different types of confidence intervals can be calculated as per the industry standard? But this is not limited, right? So it depends on, basically, it depends on the severity of the business problem. That is how much wrong you can go, how much error you can make in your estimates. Okay, so it depends on severity of the business problem or underlying uncertainty, and of course on the sample size as well, right? So some business problem, some company may tell you that please calculate it with 80% confidence interval, or someone may say you 98% confidence interval. So absolutely, whenever you want to calculate with this, then definitely you are going to draw a normal distribution again, take a 80% interval. So you have a chance to go wrong 10% this side, 10% this side, right? So what will be the z-score you will look for? Definitely, so this is 0.80 plus 10, 0.10. So it is going to be 0.90. So you will look the area for 0.90 and pick up the corresponding z-score, put it in this formula and calculate it, right? For 98% calculation, again draw this thing. This is 98%. So 2% you may go wrong, 1% this side, 1% this side. So obviously 0.98 plus 0.01. So you can go for 0.99% area over there in the Z table, and get the corresponding z-score, put it over here in this formula and calculate the estimate, calculate the interval, right? But this is one way of calculating. Why? Because here what you know is the population standard deviation. Okay, here what you know is population standard deviation, which we have said here to assume that it is 2500. What if you don't know the population standard deviation? What if a university is launching such a program for the very first time in their campus? Okay, for that, check out my next video. I'm going to cover that, okay, which is called as, where there we are going to use the T distribution. Here we have used Z distribution or Z table we have referred. There we are going to refer T table. That is going to be my next video, upcoming video, right? So that's it for the today's session. If you have liked this video, then please hit the like button on the YouTube channel. And also, if you have not subscribed the channel yet, please do subscribe it and hit the bell icon so that you will get regular updates through a notification and you will not miss any learning video. And if you have not liked yet the Facebook page, please do like it as well, because it is another medium to be connected. You may miss maybe YouTube notification, but then if you are following me on different ways, like Facebook page, on LinkedIn, or through your YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, right? So at least one of the notification, you may watch it and you will come to know that the new video has been uploaded. And all those links and all this related information about the communication and other things will be, given there in the description of this and each of the video, right? So thank you very much for joining. Bye bye, take care, see you.